Well, I appreciate y'all coming in today. In case you didn't know, it's our anniversary today. My wife and I bought this store 3 years ago, so we're celebrating this weekend. If you didn't get a chance, there's food in the back. We got some of those big Subway subs back there. There's some food back there, and we're running all kinds of freebies and giveaways and that sort of thing, or discounts. I think if you haven't bought anything, the first 50 folks get a pocket knife today. The first 50 folks tomorrow get an apron. So come early, come often. We're going to do today's demo. Usually we do it on the big saw, but this is the new job site. So it's a contractor saw. This is their brand new one. It came out. It's a little bit different than the older one. It's a little bit deeper here. They've added a couple inches here on it. They've changed the controls a little bit, but not much. And they've also added standard now is their dust collector, is their blade dust. Added it now. I'm not going to have it on here just because of the demo today, but they've really thought about trying to make sure that most people take these off when they buy them immediately, and they put it in a closet somewhere and never to be seen again. But they really want people, after losing fingers, they're really concerned about dust collection. So they've added this as a standard feature now, which is nice. It also the T-fence on it. They've added this little thing here. That comes on this side, and what it allows you to do is to keep the dust collector on while you're running narrow stock. So you can keep the dust collector on and still be able to slide small pieces of wood down here. So again, they're very conscious about keeping everybody safe, not only from losing fingers but also from dust the hazards of dust. So. Let me think. I think everybody's probably seen the videos on this and the talk about it, that somebody's losing a finger or getting harmed by a saw every 9 minutes. So the guy that invented this, that was his goal, was to prevent people from losing their fingers. It's inside of every Sawstop's a cartridge like this, and there's a little charge, I think, some sort of, it's not very big, but there's a charge. Hey, Kevin, can you get me the one that's gone off? And what happens in about 5/100ths of a second is the machine detects a change in the currency, or the current. We were talking about whether there's current or capacitance, or it could be little fast gnomes. I don't know what the technology. In 5/100ths of a second, or about the time it takes about 2 to 3 teeth to go by here, this cartridge comes up, the blade, so stops it, and then the whole thing actually drops below the table as well. So you'll see the saw drop, you'll see that it stops and drops all very instantaneously. People always kind of say, well, is it really true? Is it really happening? I'm gonna run it the first time without the safety mechanism on. So this is actually a nice feature if you're cutting wet wood or pressure or something like that. You can actually run this in bypass mode to see if it'll. So you don't want the brake going off in wet wood. Let me start this up first. It takes a minute. I'm going to turn this around actually so you guys can see a little bit. If you look here, you can see there's a off real quick. All right. So when you first come in and cut the saw on, it's gone through a sequence of tests to make sure that the brake's in there and it's working in proper condition. Now it's ready to go. If you just are doing normal sawing, you cut it on, it's going to be loud, so be careful. You start sawing. One way to test and make sure, you don't ever want to do it even when it's slightly spinning, because anytime it's spinning, it's still checking to see if the brake's going to go off. Here, and I can touch it, watch the light. See that red light went off, which would tell you that the brake would engage if it was running. So if you're not sure, if you've got a piece of wet wood, you can come up and put the wood against it. That's one way, but as you know, the wood may be dry around the edges and wet inside. So you really want to be conscious of that. So what you do, and they've done a nice job, the instructions for bypass motor in here, is you push this thing forward. That's the bypass up there until you saw that one red light come on. You're good. So now, I got to do it again. I got to start. You can't keep it. So the one red light, now it's ready to go in bypass mode. Now it's in bypass mode. So the brake will not engage right now. I'm going to cut it back off. I'm going to spin it back around. But at that moment, it was not in bypass mode, so I could cut wet wood on it and that sort of thing. If you are cutting wet wood, start it in bypass mode, make a couple of cuts to see if it truly would engage, because it will still show you that red light. It just won't kick the brake off.
Does it go back to?
The minute you shut it off, that's their safety feature. Yeah, so you got to remember, if you're cutting a lot of pressure treated on a job or something like that, you got to remember to re-engage it. There's no way to just disengage it entirely. So I'm going to spin this back around just so it makes it a little easier. And I'm going to show you what it looks like, because people don't believe I'm really cutting a hot dog. They think there's something else going on. So I'm going to run it. I am going to hurt a hot dog today to start with. All right. Now, once the saw comes back down, yeah, yep. So now that the saw is back down, we're gonna actually do a full-on Sawstop engage. We're gonna engage it. If anybody wants to take pictures or take a look at it, get your cameras out now, because this goes pretty quick. So.
Right. I'm ready. I'm ready, Eddie.
All right.
Ready.
So I'm going to just cut it on. So you can see there's a little nick on it, right? But it's not this, right? So you can see there's a little bit of a nick on there. But otherwise, right, people walked away with their fingers.